Alright, it is Wednesday, February 19th. We're looking at the 1 hour NQ contract. And we're going to be doing a daily recap of today's price action. Now, first thing we notice is we open the day really low. Now, this is 6 a.m. right here. We can mark out our midnight price, which is one of the first things I do in the morning. Mark out midnight. We can mark out Asian. Asian is 7 to 9. So it's just this range right here. We can see that we took the high almost immediately. Started going lower, so we don't really need to keep those levels there. And we can also look at London. I'm going to switch to the 15-minute chart. Now, for London, we have a move up. We turtle soup this level, right, this high right there. Then we start moving lower. So this is our London session. We leave the high here to be taken. So this is London. Now we start going lower, and this is my ideal liquidity sweep level right here, which is going to be right near the big fair value gap. So this is sell side purged. It wasn't very high time frame. This is only 15-minute chart right here, and on the 1 hour chart we see it. We displace lower. We keep going lower. Now let's say we had news today, so I'm going to go to my FX book. We had news at 8:30, and we see that we also have news at 2 o'clock. So let's look at 8:30. 8:30 is right here. We consolidate for a long time until 9:30 open. 9:30 takes us lower, and honestly what I was expecting is price to go here and then to stop. So I was going to expect price to go there and then stop and start to reverse immediately. We ended up going significantly lower, 50 points, 40 points lower than that. And one thing we can look at is on the 5-minute chart is this was an imbalance right here. It wasn't fully filled, so we sort of filled this 5-minute fair value gap, and I didn't expect Tuesday's low to get taken, as I said before, because we have this SMT, and because I expect that price was just going to bounce off here and start to head higher because of the way that price moved earlier in this week, that we took our weekly liquidity purge before we start going higher. Obviously today we sort of consolidated it, but I expected price to basically go down here and start going back higher. It went lower than I expected, but we did go higher. We don't really see a great setup on the 5-minute because we don't really have a market structure. We can go to the 3-minute, and there was some pretty nice price action. It did have this big drop off right here. That was a good time to enter if you're looking at it. It is a little late in the day, which is another thing. You have to be patient, but it is definitely still a setup. So we had a long here. You could say you could long this. I would long this breaker, or you could just long the 50% of this because there's so much clutter here. I would long this 50% and put a stop loss maybe down here below this fair value gap and below this swing low, which would be right here. Now, what do we expect price to do from here? We expect it to go higher, and we expect to go higher and take out this last session's high. So London's high wasn't taken, and we do still. I expected it to take Tuesday's high, so yesterday's high, but we ended up consolidating, and at around 12 o'clock we ended right here, and we hadn't really moved much from where we started earlier in the morning, so I expected a continuation higher, especially when you see a move below our liquidity purge. If you see a liquidity purge and you see us to start going in that direction, and we don't run through liquidity on the other side of our liquidity purge, you expect price to continue in PM session. So that's what I expected to see, and we can go over London. I apologize. We can go over lunch. So 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So right here, this is our lunch, and you can see price went below. We started going higher. I didn't really see a good setup here for me to long, but I do like the way price moved here, and I'm actually going to remove this 1 hour fair value gap. I like the way that price moved here because it went below our London, or I keep saying London. We went below our lunch lows and then we started going higher. And we took out, at least we took out London highs. We didn't take out Tuesday's high, but we did make the high of the day. So we took out London's high, we made the high of the day. Now we have, and that all happened below midnight and weekly open. So that's another good thing. So we can delete all this. We've gone over price action for today. And we're going to be talking about the model. So I have created a model on Google Docs, and I'm first going to be talking about other tools that we can use. So you can always, as I've said in the past few lessons, you can use standard deviations to project manipulation legs, and you can also use manipulation legs to project distribution legs. So basically, standard deviations can be used to predict big legs or big moves in price, to predict how low it's going to go. So I believe for this I used this one. No. In this case, I think I used a higher time frame. If I look on the higher time frame, I believe the one I used might have been here. So I believe it was here. Actually, that is not the right one. Let me see. I actually did not use it today, but I guess it wasn't present today. In that case, that's fine. We did go lower. Sometimes it's not clear which leg you can use. I think I actually did use this one and expected this right here to be where price would react. I use this swing right here, which it might be a 1 hour green like order block. So you can use that, and you can use it to project the way up. So it should work here. This is a good swing. This is our market structure shift swing, and as you can see, we had 2 to 2.5, which is where we hit. But basically, we hit it on time with the start of lunch. Then lunch consolidated, and then we went below. We slammed below lunch lows. We didn't go as low as I would hope, but we did go below it, and then we immediately shot back up. Had a small retracement. This could have been a long, technically. I don't really like the way it looks. This could be a fair value gap long after this market structure shift, because you would see this as a turtle soup. So right here, that would be turtle soup, which would be a purge of the lows, which would also, it's just a liquidity purge. We revert higher, shift higher, and then we have a PD array to hit. And then we can see from there we finish the daily range. We make a high, and that's how we can use power of 3 to project the magnitude of our price legs and our price movements. And we can look that, one moment. So okay, now I'm going to go over the buys. So levels I want to mark out for tomorrow. If we go to, let's go to 4-hour chart. So this is yesterday's high. This is Tuesday's high. Here we have today's high. So this is Monday. We have the weekly open. We're below it right now. We have today's low. This is not Monday at all. This is Wednesday. Wednesday high. We have Wednesday's low. We have these lows stacked up. So we have these lows, both are low resistance liquidity. And now at this point, we can also go to ES. It's important to note that we did take all-time highs on ES. So we are a little stronger in ES. However, that does not mean I'm not looking to stop longing on NQ. I do believe we'll go higher. I just want to see how price moves tomorrow. I think there's a chance that we go lower and we go to last Friday's high to rebalance this fair value gap, even though we have an SMT there, just because of the way that price is consolidating. there is still a chance. I do still think that we could head lower and possibly go below these two lows and then go higher. So I can see that too. And I just want to see if we have standard deviations from here. So we do. It's not, I mean, we could see how price reacts right here, which is 2 and 2.5, but you don't know if this is the cap or if we could go even lower. But I want to go over my AM session model. So this is my model. This is a checklist. So first thing you want to look at is liquidity sweep, and you want to have a market structure shift and a PD array test. So this is basically the 2022 model. These are the 3 required checklists, and you want to make sure you have all these 3 no matter what. Now high probability, this is, you want to have as much of these as you can checked off. So higher PD array is tapped. In this case, if we go back to 5 minute, actually let's go to 1 hour. 1 hour chart, we took this higher time frame PD array. However, this was not, I didn't expect us to go lower, so it wasn't as probable today because we kept getting so close to yesterday's low. We had higher time frame liquidity. We don't really have high time frame liquidity today. It was a consolidation day pretty much. If you zoom out, we didn't really move that much. This is just saying London. This is just saying the last session was purged on either side. Now Judah swing is another thing I like to trade. I like to see 9:30 to 10 a.m. be the opposite direction of the close of the day. So we see price move down with 9:30 to 10 a.m. I want to long that move after 10 a.m. And last thing is SMT present. So that's last thing. And then that's for high probability. Then this is like mostly optional. Trade aligns with bias. Trade aligns with midnight theory. So midnight theory is you only long below midnight, you only short above midnight. But it doesn't have to. So this is really just optional. Same thing with standard deviation SMT theory. I'm not that loyal to it that I wouldn't trade without it. And baseline model is there's 2 curves to each day, so we can go over this here. We had 2 main curves today. At least in the morning session, we had a curve lower. So we have this move lower, and then we start to go higher right after. This is at least for the morning session. We have a retracement. You could see this as a curve higher, but we had this retracement back after, which is not ideal. I really wanted to see price go higher and push, but we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. 1 hour chart, we have these lows. We have all these lows stacked up, low resistance on both sides. It's not very high probable. We want to see which levels are taken first. It's kind of hard to guess before it happens, so you want to see which levels are taken first, and then from there look at what price did before that move, and then decide if we took any liquidity on the opposite side. And based on that, if we did, it's more likely that we can really continue lower. If not, this move is more likely to be a turtle soup. So just a liquidity purge before we revert higher. Or if we go up here without taking any lows at this point, I would say that we are likely to go lower. But we'll see what happens. And until then, I will talk to you tomorrow.